Yeah. Your resume says you have close to 8 years of experience.
Okay. Yeah.
And this 8 years of experience is on DevOps, is it? Or other projects also? Other roles also?
So like total 8 years, not only on DevOps. Like since past 3 years, it's on SRE side. Mostly focused on not only dedicated SRE, but as being a SRE, like supporting the DevOps operation side too. Like before, it was the completely on DevOps engineering side.
Okay. So can you explain me your previous DevOps experience?
So when it comes to the previous DevOps experience, I can tell you mostly we used to be working on the production environment, like with the deployment process and all this. And apart from that, like in infrastructure maintenance, and onboarding the new application teams to on our platform. That's the one thing I used to do. And apart from that, the cloud operations related side of stuff mostly. Like cloud operations includes with like when I worked with the multi-cloud environment here in the Ford. So it's on the AWS and the Azure mostly, and then a few part is on GCP. So mostly like AWS and the Azure cloud operation side. Uh, and uh, like and to come into a deep dive, like our platform was been on top of the Kubernetes environment, maintaining the containers and those clusters, and responsible for like setting up and configuring the few ELK stacks like that are running efficiently or not, and that stuff, and monitoring kind of stuff, monitoring stuff, configuring the Prometheus generated metrics into Grafana dashboards and just monitoring there, and with troubleshooting issues of the application level and platform level. Mm, yeah, these are like the few like DevOps activities that which I can tell you.
Okay. And in your current project is also DevOps role?
Yeah, even this current project involves in DevOps operation, because like as I said you, like I'm SRE here, so mostly like as SRE, like I involve in work with the multiple application teams. So we do have a SRE platform here. So this our platform provides the service of the incident management monitoring services, and end-to-end monitoring services, all these. So like what we used to do, like when we work with the multiple application teams, so we reach out to them for providing these our SRE stack services. And apart from this providing SRE services, we do even provide these multiple like DevOps operations also. Like for example, till onboarding when we are onboarding them to our platform, we onboard them, like we do have our shell script, automated shell script to onboard their application. So that is the DevOps activity we do there. And after that, we onboard for the monitoring troubleshooting side. We from that given the Grafana dashboard or the data, like we will be start monitoring. And if there are any issues there, and we will be going into the again engineering side of work. So there again the DevOps thing comes into the picture. So that's how like we used to do like both, like.
Okay. So you have experience on Kubernetes and Linux networking.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And AWS as well, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So can you explain me what AWS is and what an S3 bucket is?
So like S3 bucket is something just like we store our few data in the S3 buckets. For example, like it's a service like where we store all our pods and objects in that, like we just store it, just a storage bucket we manage in AWS.
And what AWS? What is AWS?
AWS is Amazon Web Services.
Why do you need that
So,
for
like, it's a
AWS?
cloud computing platform that offers like multiple services for us, our tools for us to build and deploy the application and the services, right? Like which we can, in any cloud we will be adopting that because for either scalability or security and reliable features and all that.
Okay. So you use AWS extensively in your current project?
Yes, I can tell you no, yeah, mostly extensively only because like here we in Ford like we deal with multiple teams, so this is a multi-cloud environment we are facing here. But as in 2 years of time or before, like I had a really good more experience on AWS side.
Okay. And in Linux, can you give me some commands that you use on daily basis?
Grep command we use in a daily basis to identify that, or ls la for the listing, and we do use a few other commands like ls grep or 2 in order to switch the in order to copy the files. We use cat commands, for directories we use mkdir to copy. We do cp command for copy, and for to change the directories we do use like cd and the directory name to change, and to move or rename files we use mv command, and to security connect to the remote server we do use ssh, and to change the permissions chmod. So these are all the few Linux commands.
So can you explain me what a traceroute is?
What?
Traceroute?
Oh, okay. Traceroute. Okay. So, like when it comes to is a network diagnostics tool which we use it to identify or route the network traffic from one device to the from the device to the internet. So, for example, these each tracking it works by sending out a series of packets to the destination devices, and tracing the route that the packets takes from the source to the destination. So each packet sends the Traceroute tool individually TTL values which start to set the numbers. Like Traceroute provides us useful information mostly for troubleshooting the network issues such as the slow network or packet loss or any connectivity problems or misconfiguring issues, and all this.
Okay. And do you have any idea on floating IP?
Floating IPs? So, yeah, when we deal with this floating IPs, it was that address was in the floating IP is a kind of the IP address where we dynamically assign to our different instances or resources in our cloud environment. It commonly, for example, if a primary instance or a resource fails, a secondary instance or resources can be assigned the floating IP to take over the primary IP address, thus ensuring the applications or the services remains available to the users. That's the example, how we use this floating IPs.
Okay. So, and you have experience on Kubernetes, is what you said, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, can you explain me how Kubernetes and Docker are related?
So, both are mostly container services. I can say I can tell you. So, but there is a very minute differences. When it comes to containers, Docker is a containerization platform where it allows you to package application, and there depends into a portable or any self-contained containers that can run on any machine. Kubernetes on the other hand is also we can tell you container service a container orchestration platform that allows you to automate the deployments or scaling and management of containers application. It provides a way to manage and control the container application across the multiple clusters of the machine, abstracting away the underlying infrastructure and providing the uniform way to manage or scale. Okay, so when it comes to like Kubernetes uses the Docker containers as the build blocks for the deploying the application, and it relies on the Docker engines also, like to create or manage run the containers. Where like Kubernetes provides a layer of abstraction and additional features on top of the Docker also, like such as load balancing, auto scaling, rolling the deployments, and more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you explain what is orchestration when it comes to DevOps?
Okay. So orchestration is like in like real time words I can tell you, like setting up or something, that kind of stuff. For example, orchestration like we is like organization, for example, any kind of orchestration like refers to the automation of complex things, like for example, if we need to set up the platform or infrastructure. So if we do in automated way, so it helps us to make our system interactions, or application services interaction, or database interaction all easy. So like I can in very easily I can tell you, like all these services can be managed easily. So orchestration means like basically the management of all these services of an infrastructure. For example, so when we are trying to manage these multiple services of this application or infrastructure, so when we do in an orchestrated manner, so it will be very easy to manage all them. So if we need to for example, we are going into the cluster based, right? If we want, if we have a 50 clusters or something, and there are multiple things running around in each cluster, we want to stop or kill one of the services, just we can, if we kill this total cluster, so it will be easy for us, like where it's totally kind of automation of deployments and management of the application.
Okay. And do you have experience with Git?
Yeah.
Okay. Then how do you explain Git to me?
So it's just a source code repository, like where even developers, or we store our codes. Even developers just they store their development codes in there, and like we as a DevOps engineer studies, like we do like store our scripts, or our Python shells, or YAML files of our Terraform TF scripts or anything, and we store there, and we will be working with that code.
Okay.
Yeah, or to be in like in detail, I can tell you like where in the place where it allows the multiple developers to work on the same code base simultaneously, or like tracking of our code or merging them together. Yeah, that's what the Git is.
Okay. So in Kubernetes, let's say I want to check the health of pods, right?
Okay.
So how can we do that?
So for each pod, to like kubectl, for example, like let's think kubectl get pods. After we'll get the pods, we will describe the pod. Once the pod, we describe the pod, we check the logs of in the pod. And there like we will check all the logs, how it is going. Finally, like you can see the Kubernetes health checks to automatically monitor the health of the pods and take the actions like if become unhealthy. So like even there are like I can tell you we can go with the two kind of health checks also, like liveliness probe or readiness probe. Like liveliness probe is like we can use it to like determine if the pod is running, while readiness probe is like used to determine like if the pod receives the traffic or not. Like you can define these probes in your pod specification files, and Kubernetes will automatically monitor them and take actions if needed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And did I ask you what a fork command does in Linux? Why that? Okay,
No.
can you please tell me what a fork command does?
Okay. So this is a forking strategy like we do use. mostly this line expo command is a system, like we used to like create a new process for an existing process. When when we use the fork, it creates a duplicate of itself. It's called a child process, which can then run independently of the parent process. In detail, this for command is often used in the conjunction with the execution commands also. Like this for command used to replicate the code and data of the newly created child process with a new program. This is what the for command is, and this for command is.
Okay.
Mostly this forking feature is in the Linux is we extensively use in many of the daemon processes and shell scriptings and all this part.
Okay, and can you explain me the difference between semaphore and mutex?
So, can you repeat semaphore?
Mutex and mutex, yeah. Difference between semaphore and mutex.
I didn't get you. Semaphore versus mutex, okay. So, a mutex is kind of the lock that allows one thread to access a shared source at that time. But where the semaphore, on the other hand, is a counter that allows the multiple threads to access the shared resources concurrently. So that was the basic difference between these two. But wherein mutex, it provides some mutual exclusion and ensures that one thread can hold the lock and access the shared resources at the given point of time. For example, when a thread acquires a mutex, it takes the ownership of the lock and releases, and it when done axing of the shared resources. When it comes to semaphore, it provides a way to limit the number of threads, number of threads that can access the shared resources at any given time. When a thread wants to access the shared resources, it must first acquire a semaphore. If the semaphore counter is the greater than 0, then the thread can access the shared resources and decrement the counter. If the counter is 0, then the thread must wait until the another thread releases the semaphore. Yeah.
So in your project, if there is a situation where you need to use semaphore and mutex, so what attributes do you take into account to decide whether you want semaphore or mutex?
Okay. So, okay, let me tell you this. Okay. Okay. When deciding between semaphore and the mutex, we can consider several things. So, for example, mutual exclusion. If the shared resources, for example, if you have a shared resources which should be accessed by only one thread at a time, a mutex is an appropriate synchronization mechanism, where we can use there. So, a mutex where it provides the multiple execution and ensure that only one thread can hold the lock and access the shared resources at that point of time. Okay. When it comes to the concurrence, if the shared resources, shared resources can be accessed by the multiple people or multiple threads concurrently, a semaphore will be our appropriate synchronization mechanism. So a semaphore allows us to multiple threads to access these shared resources concurrently up to the specific limit. And when it comes to if we are blocking permissions or something, if we are blocking or not blocking, or if you are locking any locking any service, then in that kind of thing, we can use it. Or any kind of deadlock avoidances. If there is a possibility of a deadlock occurrence in our system, then a semaphore will be an appropriate synchronization mechanism we can use. Semaphore, where it allows for the more complex coordinations between the multiple people, for multiple access, and can use it to avoid these deadlocks by carefully managing the semaphore counters at that point of time, and performances. For example, performance of a service or application, So like when it comes to that case, in some cases the performance of these mechanisms may be maybe in a consideration. Then mutex will be a faster and have a lower overhead compared to the semaphores. So they may be more appropriate in a simple scenarios, like in a very particular simple synchronization scenarios. So that would be these are the few things like which I would be thinking apart from both mutex and semaphores execution in the project.
Okay. So, and what's the reason for you to look for a change now?
Actually, I got laid off. My total team got laid off. The SRE team, like they moved to the offshore, and here they are left with only the two people in the team, and mostly like every team. It was like SRE project was been initiated 2 years before. Like we are a team of 10 people. We started. Slowly, like we have been distributed our workloads and everything. We have been trained everyone. Like when, as I said, like we do provide consulting service to multiple application teams. We pick each individual from that team, and we have been like learned them like all the activities that what we do. And so we have been centralized that, and mostly we moved this our team SRE operations to the offshore, like where they will be monitoring 24/7. So in that point of time, and due to the budget issues, like there doesn't feel like much more availability of our team for the improvements, and they just had left 2 people in the team, and all the remaining 12 people were being laid off. In that point, I was being laid off from the fold.
So, sorry, I forgot to ask. Currently, where you are?
So right now, I am in Irving, Texas.
Texas. Okay. So, and are you open for relocation?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, in that case, is it like your hiring would be immediate because, right? Would that be possible? Okay.
Yeah.